Let's talk about referring to your residential realtor in the group. And I want to start with a couple basics. Almost always the default, if I'm staying in the middle of a referral script, is, hey, I know someone who's really good at what they do. Can I connect the two of you? Can I introduce the two of you? And then you can set them up via text or email, kind of a three-way chain. But I want to talk about the next step on referring to a residential realtor. So first and foremost, if you're the residential realtor in the group, let's talk about kind of general numbers and expectations. Our average realtor last year sent just under 43 referrals to members of the group. Now the average on the received end, you can generally take your membership size. So you're a 15-person group, you should expect to receive 14 referrals, one from every single member over the course of the year. Now, some realtors get more, some get less, and average is exactly what an average is. Now, as the realtor in the group, I think it is really important for you to train your members on two things. One, most important, train us how to identify a referral opportunity. And so often, residential real estate transactions occur in life-changing events. For example, I've got a realtor in a group, she talks about the 7 Ds. It's diapers, so babies, diamonds, engagements, people getting married, getting engaged. It's diplomas, graduating college, master's degrees, doctorates, things like that. It is death, divorce, folks that are downsizing. And then it's also for her, she talks a lot about department head introductions because you get people moving in and out of town. So that's kind of stage one. Now, what do we do with it when we're staying in the middle of a referral? Because, we can't always just say, hey, someone died, I got a great realtor for you. There's tact and time and place on how we bring stuff up. So I oftentimes find that if I'm staying in the middle of that referral opportunity, I'll say something along the lines of, hey, it was great seeing you at whatever we were at. It sounds like you got a life-changing event coming up. When the time comes, I've got a great realtor for you. Now, I think there's a really important add-on phrase, and this goes to the fact that there are 5,500 realtors in GLAR. There are 44,000 plus realtors in the Bluegrass Realtors Association. So when we talk it within our group settings, what we find is they lose a lot of transactions to part-time realtors. Now that's a different subject, but I think it matters in handling objections, because when you're trying to tee one up, and a lot of times they'll say, oh, I've got, my Aunt Susan. Well, Aunt Susan's a teacher who holds a real estate license who does 2 deals a year. You wouldn't use a part-time doctor. You wouldn't use a part-time banker. You wouldn't use a part-time financial advisor. And especially for most folks, buying or selling a real estate transaction is one of the largest transactions they'll have in their life. So it's important for us as members to say, I've got someone who's good at what they do. They are a full-time realtor. That's all they do. And I want to make sure you use someone who's good at what they do. Because the reality is about 70% of those realtors that are in those organizations, because there's not a big barrier to entry, aren't any good at what they do. So we want to make sure that we try to fight for those transactions without being pushy, but we have to bring that up in conversation so that we can create referral opportunities and set those connections. But it's also a way of looking out for your friends, your family members, your clients, and ensuring that they've got someone who is good at what they do, that has the resources and the connections to handle that transaction and will do a great job. Plus, it's certainly a real estate transaction in the group typically flows to our mortgage lender, our insurance agent, our home inspector, and to all kinds of folks within home services. And if they're new to town, it flows over on the financial side a lot. So learn to take shots, but as realtors within the group, focus on teaching us how to identify it and also overcoming that objection oftentimes of, well, I already know, Aunt Susan or whoever it may be, but making sure we're identifying, we're not letting those folks end up with part-time realtors.